Hey everybody, thanks for getting on. Happy to see you. Hope you guys can hear me and see me okay. Hope everything's coming in great. I'm gonna give just another minute or two for some more people to get on. If you can hear me, actually just why don't you guys let me know where you're from? I would love to hear that. Just put that in the chat. Let me know where you're coming from for this. All right, we got people coming in. There we go. Bay Area, that's awesome. Alabama, Louisiana, that's great. Pennsylvania. All right, great to see y'all. Tuning in from cloudy Pennsylvania. Ah, we're cloudy here too. I'm in Utah, and 1 minute it's nice and sunny, and the next it is cloudy and snowy. So if my lighting changes, I apologize. Okay. Great. Well, we said we'd get started at the top of the hour, so let's do it. If more people come on, we're happy to have you. My name is Seth Warburton. I'm an Xactimate certified trainer for over 6 years, almost 7 years now. So that's great. And I'm here to teach you about stairs. Now, not just the default stairs, but some of those extra tips and tricks that you need to know to do things a little different in Xactimate. Not the default that just Xactimate does for you, but there's sometimes some things we need to do to stairs that, again, you'll need to know a little more to be able to get the staircase you want. Okay? So let's jump in. Let's get right to it. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get going. There we go. Coming on. All right, probably just a second. There we go. Now you should be seeing my PowerPoint. There we go. Okay, so this is sketching staircases in Xactimate. I'm going to focus on 3 kind of unique staircases today. If this is new to you, if you're brand new to Xactimate and to stairs, then I would recommend listening the best you can and maybe coming back to the replay, because this will be posted on YouTube. Coming back to the replay and then going along with me for the replay. Just kind of soaking it in the first time to kind of see what it's all about and what you can do with it, and then using the replay to test it out. If you are experienced with Xactimate, then yeah, come with me. I am going to take it slow and steady. If you need me to slow down, you can put that in the chat, or you can also just be reminded that this will be on YouTube. So you'll be able to come back and replay and go forward and back and watch the parts that you want to. So just be aware of that. And let's get going. Okay, so this is the first staircase that we're going to sketch together today. Pretty simple, right? An L-shaped staircase. And the only thing different here is that we have a stepped landing, and that is not a default thing in Xactimate. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to correct the rest of the staircase around it to make it work for you. All right? So let's get started. Again, you can follow along with me or watch and follow along in the replay, but let's get going. So I'm now here in Xactimate. I already clicked the Shift-Enter to get rid of the other windows because I don't want those right now. In fact, I'm going to hide this one over here. I just want as much of the sketch workspace as possible. Okay? So yeah, I did see a question. Yes, this will be posted on YouTube after, so you should be able to access it there. Thanks, Brian. All right, so we are now in Xactimate. Let's just get right to those staircases. So you can press C on your keyboard to activate the last staircase that you used in Xactimate. For me, it was just the regular default staircase. I'm going to hit Escape because I don't want to place that one. Because for this staircase, I would like to do a custom staircase. So I'm going to click right here on the custom staircase. Now, again, if you're not new to Xactimate, you already know all this, that's fine. I'll go over it really quickly. With the custom staircase, you're just given one tread, And then where the crosshairs are is the direction that that staircase will go in. You see right now that the width is 3 feet 4 inches. Now, if you have a wider or skinnier staircase, that's okay. We can change that later. This is just the default, but we can make those changes. To use the custom staircase, all you have to do is come over to the sketch workspace and just click your mouse once, and that places the first tread. And then you pull that mouse in any direction from that first tread, and it will continue building steps for you to your heart's content until you click again. And then when you click again, it will solidify what's between the first click and the second click. So for this staircase, it's going to be 3 feet 1 inches. So I'll pull out to 3 feet 1 inches, and then I'll click again. Now, Xactimate likes to anticipate what it thinks I want to do, which for the most part is usually awesome. So it's like, well, you just created the staircase. You probably want a landing. Now, if I didn't want that landing, then I would just hit escape on my keyboard, and I would just have these 3 steps. But for this one, I do want a landing. And if I pull in any of the directions around that landing, I can get it to be longer, but I don't want that. Just want a square landing. So I'm going to click again to solidify that landing. Boom. Okay. So now I've placed that first set of steps, that landing. Now I've got the little no smoking sign. All that means is I can't do anything with this anymore, but if I pull off any of the sides of that landing, I can continue making staircases. And you guys could make a staircase to the moon if you wanted, because you can just keep going, landing, staircase, as long as you want. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this last set here, which is 5 feet 5 inches. And then we're going to click to place that. It's going to anticipate another landing. I don't want that landing. And so I'm going to hit escape. And there we go. Now it places that first L-shaped staircase. So hopefully you got that with me, or you're watching on the replay and you were able to go back and forth, slow it down if you needed to, push pause. And you can see that the staircase goes up from where we first placed the staircase, and that's exactly what it needs to do. Okay, so if you remember, that staircase, we can slide back to it here, had no wall, no railing, it's nothing. So to start off, I'm going to delete these walls. The trick I like to use when I'm deleting multiple walls at the same time is holding down Control on my keyboard. So if I hold down Control and click on this wall when it's highlighted blue, and then click on this wall when it's highlighted blue, and then I hit Delete on my keyboard, boom, it deletes them for me, which is great, okay? So you guys can do that as well. However, by default, I get a railing. Now, this railing doesn't have any area that's going to mess up anything. It doesn't give me an estimate item. It's really just for aesthetics. So I could leave it and not have a problem, but I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I'm going to control click these 2 walls again, and they're very thin now, right? Before we had that 4-inch width, and now we have no width. So you got to get right in there. It's always good to zoom. This is what I tell everybody. A lot of us are used to looking at floor plans from, the 30,000 view, right, way up high. And so we don't use the zoom tool as much as we should in Xactimate, but zoom in to click on what you're trying to click on. I control clicked just that edge there, and now I'll hit the properties. And because I'm a little OCD, I'm going to get rid of that railing. Okay, there we go. Now it's going to be looking more like what we need it to look like. We look at it in 3D mode. It's going to let me, because probably sharing this on YouTube is using my computer's memory a lot, but that's okay. But there we go. And then you could also get rid of that railing as well. It doesn't matter. Okay, but let's get right to the meat of it now. Let's figure out how to put some steps here, because that's what we need. We need 2 steps that are angled that help you go around this corner here. So we're going to click on this landing, so that's the only thing selected. And then we're going to open its properties menu right up here. And you'll see there's just a ton of options. We're not going to worry about most of these, but we are going to come down to the 4th section down, which is called staircase. And then the 4th line down here, we have number of risers. So pretty simple, right? We need 2 risers. We have none. Let's click on here and add 2 risers. Boom. There we go. That's it, right? That looks great, right? No, it does not. It doesn't know how I make those risers. So what we're going to do here So I just want to make sure that all of my risers, we'll just say that in the case of this project, they all need to be 7.5 inches. So let's go check on this first staircase here. And this first one, total riser height, 7.5. Boom, perfect. Let's go to this one. This one, riser height, 7.5. Also perfect. Okay. And then, yeah, that's what we need. So we want this one to be the same. So we want it to match. So we're going to click here. And we're going to go to the riser height. And we're going to change that. And I like the little picture so it shows, you know, I'm in the right place. We're going to click 7 and then 1/2. And then we're going to click off of that. And it's automatically going to do inches. And it's going to give us that height that we're looking for. Boom. Perfect. Now, sadly, that's a staircase to nowhere. And that's not quite what we need. What we need this to do is we need this to wrap, right? You also might have noticed that this staircase does not compensate. So these are the little tricks that you need to know when doing a stepped landing, is that you need to add the risers, you need to add the depth to the steps, and then you'll need to raise up this staircase, okay? So we just added 7.5 inches twice, right? So that's 15 inches. Right now, this tread base height is 2 feet 6 inches. And so we would need to add 15 inches to that, which is going to be 3 feet 9 inches. So that's what we're going to want to do here. That's just a little internal math that you guys will need to do when doing this. And it's all just based on whatever is your step height on that landing. All right? So that'll raise it up. So that raises up this bad boy. We can, again, look at it in 3D. All right, that's looking a lot better. And then we want to take this landing here, and we want these treads to be angled. So right now, it's set to no in the staircase section here. We're going to set angled treads to yes. And there we go. Now we have some angled treads, but it's not quite the angle I'm looking for. Back up just a little bit. This crosshair just showed up over here, and this is what drives that angle. All right? And I want it to be right in that corner. All right, let's place it right in that corner. Let's go take a look at it in 3D. Okay, so I've noticed this happen sometimes. And I'm not quite sure why. I wish I had all the answers for you. But sometimes that top riser doesn't show up until you do this. So this might be like a special trick. And if anybody in the chat, you know, knows a different way to do this. But what I always find I need to do is I need to pull this past where I need it just for a second and then put it back. And then let's see. Let's make sure this worked. Oh, no, it didn't quite work that time. Let's see if I can do it again. You just pull it back just a little bit. Because I think what it's trying to do is it's not quite sure where to put that riser or that step. Okay, so now you can see it's over here. I don't want that. Try and get it right in that corner. Maybe zoom in a little. Still giving me a little bit of an issue. But I've found that so when I play with this bad boy, maybe I need to bring it closer a little bit, is when that lines up for me. And it's this arrow, right? It's trying to, Xactimate's trying to say, now wait, where are we going? Are we going this way? Are we going this way? Are we going down this way? And so as you play with that, it's trying to anticipate where you want it. Right now it has that little tiny riser there. So you may need to play with that just for a minute to get it to go where you want to go. And pull it down just a little bit. I'm going to try this one more time because I was playing with it right before and it worked. And obviously during the live, it's being a little funny. That's okay though. I know that if you continue to play with it, you'll get that last riser to pop in. But it might just be on your computer finding the right one. Okay, I'm going to try. See how it's taking the up in that direction. You want the up going that way, right? You want it to curl. Let's do that. Still doesn't want to do it for me. Okay, something that you can play with let me know if you got it and when you get it. But that is kind of the last little trick, is just getting that to line up correctly. And it takes, honestly, which is really funny, every time I've been able to kind of pull it here, let go, and then put it back before that, and it's worked just fine. So I recommend you taking a look at it on your copy and just playing with it, and you'll get it to work. So great. Okay. That is your L-shaped staircase with stepped landing. Like I said, that's not the default, but that's how to do it. Let's just, repeat those steps one more time. To do this, you'll create the regular staircase with the custom tool. Then you add in the number of risers in the landing. And then you add in the riser height in that landing. And then whatever that riser height was, you add that to the base height of this staircase, and then they'll meet each other where they're supposed to be. All right? Perfecto. Another question I get a lot is, how do I add that into a room? This one's pretty simple. If I just hit R on my keyboard, I can get a room. And you just want to choose an edge, right? You don't want to try and put it like in the middle or try to put it on top of it or anything. You can see that's not going to allow me to do it, excuse me. But just pick an edge. And then what you'll want to do is just click and just drag along those edges. If you pull along like the edge of the staircase, it will form that room around it. So click and drag around it. You'll see that Xactimate tried to anticipate my needs again by adding in a wall. And so I'll need to go in here and just say, nope, missing end to end, still no railing. But that's how you add it inside of a room. And then if you need to, you can select all those pieces and subgroup them to that room if necessary. Okay, that's great. That is staircase number 1. All right. Just making sure there wasn't anything huge in the chat. Looks like we're good. It's loading on my side. I'm like playing it over here. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. The next one is actually quite simple. But again, it just takes a couple little tricks, things that you need to know that you might not know just playing around on your own. Might not figure out. So that's why we do this. Let's just pull off to the side here. And for this staircase, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to show you. We're going to do the next one, which is just a flared out, just a one side flared out staircase. Okay. So let's do it. So you'll notice that this staircase is 10 feet by 10 inches. Then it's 5'4" over here. It's 5'11" over here. Let me show you how I would do that. So to start, just because that's a regular staircase, I would just come up to the staircase tool and just get a regular staircase and just click to add that in to my Xactimate. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I already preached that and I need to do it better. So make sure you guys are doing that as well. Now, I don't want it to be 11.9. I want it to be 10.10. So I'm just going to choose one of the ends here. And then I'm going to click on that handle and then click on the measurement. Type in 10, comma 10, because remember I can do that in Xactimate. I don't have to add in the feet in inches. I can just do 10, comma 10 and hit enter. And that shrinks it for me. That's great. Okay. So you might have noticed, and I hope I'm not making you guys sick going back and forth, but I'm coming back over here to this staircase, and I've got this railing here, right? And you're like, that's great. All I need to do is take this wall and delete it, right? And it'll automatically add in a railing for me. Okay. That's not going to work in this scenario yet. And here's why. I need to flare out this staircase. And the only way to do that is to use the vertex tool, which is this tool up here. A vertex tool is how you can add in bends in a regular wall. Problem is, you have to have a regular wall to be able to do that. So the reason I'm bringing this up is the first time I did this, I'm like, okay, build the staircase, throw it, take the wall, I get the railing. Oh, wait. Now I can't do anything. Darn it. Okay? So I'm just hoping that you guys learn from my mistakes. So I'm going to hit escape to take away that vertex. I'm going to hit Control Z to bring that wall back, right? Control Z is undo. And then I'm going to come back here. Now, the measurement here is 5'11", the measurement here is 5'4". When you're putting, when you're trying to gauge the measurement that you need in a situation like this, I always go off the most squared measurement. An angled measurement is going to have more quirks in Xactimate. So go off the more straight, the more squared measurement. So 5 feet 4 inches. I'm going to hit V on my keyboard this time, V, get the vertex tool. I'm going to put it on that wall, and I'm going to pull it down to 5 feet 4 inches. Boom. I'm going to add that vertex. Now, just a reminder, the one that you add usually acts as the hinge point, right? The elbow, I've heard some trainers say. So this is the elbow. So you want to go find the hand, right, where you want to actually move. And that's going to be down here. I'll see a lot of students, grab that and start moving it, and that's not what we want. We place that one, but that's not the one we move. We're going to take this bottom one, and we're just going to pop it out. Boom. Okay? And there we go. And now that we have that angle, we can take these walls, holding down Control, click right in, and hit delete. There we go. Now you might be saying, Seth, that was 5'11". Right now it's 6 feet. It was, and I can take some time to fix that if I needed to, if I need it exact. You'll notice that when I click on it, actually, so I clicked on that vertex and then I clicked on the measurement, it's close. It has some fractions in it because it's an angled wall. It's not going to be a perfect number because that wall's at a little bit of an angle, and that's okay. All right? You can look at it in 3D if you like, but there you go. That's pretty quick, right? Got that flared out staircase. So cool. And again, I get asked the question, okay, so how do I put that in a room? I'm going to click on the diamond next to the name and move that over a little bit. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's the same thing. Get the room tool. See if you can find an edge that you can just start it with, right? And then I'm going to true it up over here because that's the way it needs to be. And then I'm going to pull this guy over here. And then once you start pulling it along the edges of the staircase, it should be just fine. The reason I'm showing you this is because if you try to start a room on an angled edge or even too close to an angled edge, it sometimes just doesn't like that. And again, it just deleted those railings for me, just put in a wall for me again. That's okay. I can just control click on those again, delete, and there we go. But find that flat edge to put it in a room and then drag it along those edges. And then once you have it like around it, at this point, whatever those room dimensions might be, so when I would click on a wall and then type in whatever it needs to be. Okay? Just to help out with that a little bit. All right. That was fast. That was a good one. That's pretty simple. I guess let's just review real quick. I just put down the regular staircase. I used I kept the wall there first, learning from my mistake. I used the vertex tool, and I used the straight measurement to go off of, and I clicked to add the vertex tool, and then I grabbed the lower vertex, popped it out, and then removed that those walls, and that's what you got. Okay? Perfect. All right, that's 2 staircases down. We are cruising. All right, I just had a question. Can you curve the flared stairs? I love that question, and I can, yes. So here we go. Let's take that. Let's come over here. So I'm trying to pay attention to the chat, but I've got people on that. I'm going to click on this edge here to get the properties menu for that edge. Boom. I'm going to click the properties menu here. And to curve anything, you just come to this arced wall feature. We're actually going to be playing with this a lot on that final staircase, that next staircase. And I'm going to hit yes. All right. Once that's in place, I click on that edge again. And now I can't move it anymore. That's the biggest thing when anytime you're playing with curved. You want to make sure that the endpoints of that wall that you're curving are already where you need them to be. That you're not going to have to do that anymore. Okay? And then you can pull that curve to whatever angle you need it to be. All right? Ooh, that's nice. Jay asked that. Jay, that's I like that. That looks pretty cool. That's good looking. Oh, I got a really good question asking, what is your best practice for stairs in the middle of a room? Yeah, unless it's a very basic staircase, a regular staircase, I do always create that staircase first and then drag it around it. Others might be different. I've heard different, but for me, that's always been easiest because I've been able to get that staircase exact. What you'll notice with Xactimate, and this is just a quirk that you guys need to know about, is that when you have walls, you'll see on these walls, if you get really super close, you got this little crosshair, right? Well, that crosshair is just the corner of a wall. And anytime multiple walls come together and meet, the program tries to help you by snapping you to that, or trying to measure things around it for that where those corners are. So for example, if I had a room on the other side here, that then breaks up this wall. And anytime I start playing with this staircase, you'll notice now this side is not a complete wall. It's now broken up, right? So I like to do the staircase first as like a whole piece with no walls, no rooms, nothing around it until I have that built, and then I can build those rooms around it. So that was a really, really good question. Thank you for that. Okay. Perfecto. All right. 2 down. Okay. If you're watching the replay, hopefully you're able to follow along there just fine, and back up if you need to. Let's get to the big one. Okay. We usually reserve this for like our level 3 classes. And we only have 3 levels in our training. So this is the big one. This is a little more difficult to play with just because of what it does. And this is the curved staircase, right? So let's take a look at this bad boy here. So we've got a curve here. It's completely curved staircase, 10-foot height. There's a lot we're dealing with inside another room. We've even got like a little bit of a jut out here from a wall. Let me show you how to do that. Okay. Oh yeah, and that's you guys are having good stuff in the chat. You guys got this. You're doing great. Okay. Let's start here with the regular staircase. Now, this is for Jay, but also for everybody. If you remember what I said to start, when you're dealing with curves, once you change the property to a wall to be able to be curved, you can't move that wall anymore like this, right? You want those ends to be exactly where you need them to be before you curve a wall. So I can't curve these and then try and move all these things around it because it won't move. It'll be stuck. So what I have to do is I have to manipulate in angles first, okay? So I'm going to take this wall and I'm going to angle it. I'm going to pop it down twice, boom. And I'm going to pop this over twice. Now, if you remember, in that staircase we were looking at, it was, flat down here and then flat up here. Oh, I'm sorry. Did it stop sharing for a minute? Let's take a look. Okay. Apparently it did. Let me go back in. I apologize for that. Not hearing. Okay, thank you for letting me know. All right, somebody on my team, what was the last thing you guys saw? Is there anybody? Let's see. I think we've got Rosie's one of the moderators. Let me share again. All right. Well, I stopped. Okay, I'll hold on just 2 seconds to make sure that we can see Xactimate. Okay, just standing by to get some kind of confirmation. All right, looks like you can see it again. I'm not sure what happened. It is really stormy here today, so we'll blame it on the storm. Okay, so as long as we're seeing Xactimate again, I think we're good to keep moving along here. Okay, great. Well, I apologize. I wasn't quite sure what you guys saw last, so I'm gonna lasso this. Just click lasso this. I'm gonna hit delete. I'm gonna start all over with this curved staircase. Yeah. So I'm going to get a regular staircase. I'm going to place that. And thanks everybody who spoke up. Let me know. That was great. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Okay, that was the last thing you guys saw. The big one. Oh, I got you guys all excited and then it stopped sharing. Okay, so here's what we want to do. I'm going to give that same instruction again now that you can see that. When you're dealing with curved walls, you have to make sure that the ends of those walls are where you want them to be first before you change it to a curved or arced wall. Okay? So if we go back to this staircase, back in my PowerPoint here, so we got, this tread is facing towards us here. This way, this one is, going off to the left up there. So that's what we need to do in Xactimate with an angled staircase first, right? Because we want to get them where they're supposed to be. So it might look messy, but let me show you how that's done. So we're going to pull this over twice, pop, pop. And then we're going to click this one, pop, pop. And that's pretty much what you want it to be, all right? You want to make sure that, again, that staircase is starting in the right place down here and ending in the right place over here, okay? That's super, 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 super important. And then, we were dealing with a picture here, but if you were in, a real scenario where you have a real curved staircase, the best thing for you to do to start would be go to that top corner of that staircase, even though it's curved, and then go to the bottom and just take a straight measuring tape and just see what that center measurement is supposed to be, okay? And then you can start going off of that. So for me here, I believe it's going to be 14.6 on this one, all right? Okay, and that's going to get us where we want it to be. I'm going to zoom in because that's what we're supposed to do here. It's going to help things go better, go faster, and be cleaner. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do here, I am going to go ahead and get rid of that wall too, just because, you know me, I'm a perfectionist and I think it looks cleaner because that's what it needs to be in the long run. So there we go. Now, let's go ahead and turn this staircase into an arched staircase. So we're going to take these walls and we're going to change them because now that the ending points are in the right place, actually, let me double check that. Let me just double check to make sure. This is supposed to be 3 feet. It's really close, but I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right. So we're going to arc these walls. So we're first going to click on this wall and then click on the properties for that wall. Right now it's set to no. I'm going to change that to yes. All right. Now if I click on that wall and grab onto its handle, instead of moving out that wall, it's going to arc it for me. Isn't that cool? And for this, just for our training right now, I'm just going to arc it so that the ends are straight. Right? So I'm looking for these ends to straighten up for me. Perfect. Okay? Awesome. That looks really good. That's what I want. Then I'm going to come down and click on this little baby edge now because I got rid of the wall. I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to go to its properties. I'm going to go to arced wall and change that to yes. And I'm going to pull that again so that the ends, are parallel with each other. And yeah, that looks good, right? No, that was a little too far. Okay. In a real world scenario, you would have that distance there. I'm just trying to make this look great for our training. And you'd be able to just type in what that measurement is supposed to be. All right. Okay. That's looking really good. That looks like an arched staircase. Problem is right now, our steps look wonky, right? Let's look at that in 3D for a second. Whew, that would be a fun staircase, That might be a little treacherous over there. But let's go ahead and fix this. And you might have guessed already how to do that. If you click on the staircase as a whole and go to the properties, we've got angled treads, right? And right now it's turned off. And we're going to say Yes. And boom, automatically, it pretty much lines it up already. I could take some time here and move this around if I want to true it up just a little more, right? But there we go. Now let's go look at that in 3D. I had a feeling, yeah, okay. So sometimes when you play around with that angled staircase, do you see how it messed that up? Again, this is purely aesthetics, and that's okay. I'm going to click on that wall. I'm going to go to properties. I'm just going to turn off the railing for a second. And then I'm going to click on that wall, go to the properties, and turn it back on. And that will put it right back where it needs to go. Okay? And there you go. Now you have your angled staircase. Now, again, a lot of people then ask, well, how do you put it in a room, right? Because I said to make the angled staircase first. And, you know, if you've played with angled walls before, they can be a little tricky. And it's the same principle as before. I'm gonna just move this out a little bit. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. You're gonna want to get a room, and you're gonna want to start it on the straightest, flattest wall. Now, in this case, it's a foyer where this upper wall goes into another room. So I'm gonna start the foyer down here. Yeah, and Xactimate tries to anticipate. Oh, so you want a little tiny room down at the bottom? Sure, you can have that. I don't mind. Oh, you see how it did that? It's because it's messing with the angled for just a second. And that's okay. That's okay. We'll fix that in a minute. So we're going to pull this out, though, from that straight wall. And we're going to pull it up to the edge. Boom. Oh, and it fixed that for us. If that hadn't fixed, if that remained kind of that red hash there, all you would need to do is click on that staircase, and then you just got to move these around a little bit. What it was messing with was just the angle of the treads. It's like, wait, can't angle the treads with that room right there? Okay, we could fix it. All right? And so that's how you put a room around it, is you want to put it next to a flat wall first and then drag it around that curve. And you saw originally we had, I think, like some French doors over here on that foyer. And you could take this and just drag it up a little bit until you get to that measurement that you need and have, you know, that staircase meet into that room. I'll come back here to this wall. I'm going to delete it. Boom. And because I put a wall here now, it automatically split this wall for me. I can delete that too, give myself a little railing. And now when I look at it in 3D, it's going to look more like that final picture. Boom. Boom. Okay. All right. There we go. That is how you create those 3 wonderful staircases. You've got an angled tread staircase. You've got a flared, and we have it angled right now, but we have a flared ending of a staircase and then an angled staircase as a whole. Now, again, these aren't defaults, but with a little bit of practice and know-how with these tricks, you'll be able to do this on your own just fine. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming into this YouTube Live today. I'm just going to check, make sure that I didn't miss any questions on the chat. Looking good. Okay, so I had a really good question about the level 3 exam. I've been taking the level 3 exam a lot lately. For me, it is easiest to create that staircase first and then drag rooms around it. In the level 3 exam, and this is going to be on a future YouTube Live. We'll tell you some more things to help you with that. But you'll notice it's easier to drag a wall that goes perpendicularly into the wall once that curve is already created. Do you see that? And that is the case in the level 3 exam. So we've got some walls like coming in here and over here, like a kitchen's next to a curved staircase and everything. And it's really hard to have that staircase angled first with that wall there. Let's say, you just had, the angled staircase next to a room. Well, it would split these 2 walls up already prematurely if I started this with an angled staircase and then tried to curve it. I basically need this wall. I hope I'm not confusing you. I basically need this wall to be a complete wall first before I start putting things around it. And then it's easier to drag things along it. But good question, Sean. Thank you, man. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, Rosie, she's one of my moderators. She gave a really good suggestion. You know, and that's the thing at level 2 or level 2 and level 3 is that at that point, sometimes it's knowing how to do it, but then knowing how to experiment around that situation. Okay. So if you were going to add carpet to these stairs, you could totally do that graphically, where you could just drag and drop it in. Or if I make this a subgroup of this room, then that area of that staircase, that angled stairs, will already be a part of that room. You might notice an added level of waste just because it's curved, right? And they've got to accommodate for those cuts. But yeah, you can at any point. So if I bring back the estimate items, if I wanted to get carpet here, so type carpet into the search up here. I'm now over here. Apologize, it's being a little bit slow with it sharing and everything. But that would come up with that estimate item, and I can just drag it and drop it right on top of this staircase. And it'll be there for you. Oh, that was a good question too. So if you want to look at ceiling heights, right? I didn't really cover that in this, but Miranda asked about ceiling heights. So when I look at it in 3D, right? You can see that this one did not match the foyer, right? But however, in this foyer situation, I probably want to raise up this. I'm assuming that this foyer is probably going to be as tall as this one. So, I mean, again, in a real world situation, you would go measure it. In this situation, if we go to our ceiling here, our ceiling height is 17 feet, and it's a box ceiling. If we needed it to angle that, you know, change it into a sloped instead, we could do that so it goes down to the foyer. Maybe that's the case, right? See how that kind of wraps itself down. But it would be in that properties menu that I would change that ceiling type and ceiling height. Okay. And no, it does not match it automatically. I would need to be the one to go in and edit that. Great. Great questions. Thank you for asking. And I know it's just a little bit delayed, and so I see your questions a little bit later as I'm working in Xactimate here, but I hope that turned out okay. So again, let me just show that one more time. So I'll come back to this first one. This staircase is going to have a lot of different ceiling heights, right? Because it's a lot of different pieces. And we could fix that by just going to these individual pieces and changing that ceiling level to just 8, just to match everybody else. Oh, bad ceiling height. So that would take it a little too low. So what's telling me is this is a little too high for that. This room would be 8, so maybe I would just bring it up to 9. Again, it would be what it is in the real world scenario. But if I wanted it to look a little different here, I could make all of these line up at a 9-foot ceiling. Maybe do that one as well. And that way they line up a lot better. And you could also go into the properties and get rid of that railing. If you're like me and just like it to look clean without it. Okay? All right, I don't see any more questions. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us on this live. I just want to put in a quick plug for our Learn, our classroom, right? Our learning management system. It's at learn.exactware.com, where you guys can go and take the level 1 or level 2 training. We also have our CBE, which is actually, it shows you how to identify estimate items on the job, which is really great. We have a lot of courses there. We got a lot of trainings. We also have this, our YouTube channel. So check it out. And thank you for joining me today. And I hope you guys have a great day and a great time using Xactimate, building some stairs. Thanks again.